Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. For state governments strapped for funds, unwilling on the one hand to raise additional taxes to meet mounting expenditure and unable because of constraints on their borrowing limits to borrow as much as they would like, raising money through government guaranteed bond issues as suddenly become an easy and apparently costless alternative. This was not always so. Prior to 1994-95, state enterprises were given separate market borrowing allocations each year. Bonds issued under these allocations were guaranteed by the related state governments and were treated as eligible securities for maintenance of statutory liquidity ratio requirements by banks. The statutory liquidity ratio status meant they could mobilize funds even at relatively unattractive rates of interest. At the same time, the allocation of a specific limit on the amount that could be raised meant there was some limit to the extent to which state governments could issue guarantees. However, this practice was discontinued in 1994-95, partly as a consequence of this and partly because of the increasing demand for guarantees for bonds issued for financing infrastructure projects both by the public as well as the private sector. There has been a sharp increase in the quantum of guarantees issued by state governments during the past few years. Precise figures are not available, but rough estimates by the Reserve Bank of India place the outstanding level of guarantees at rupees 40,000 crore in 1995-96, up from rupees 9,000 crore in 1990-91. In all likelihood, however, these figures understate the true extent of liabilities. This is because the cash budget system that state governments follow in drawing up their accounts does not take cognizance of contingent liabilities like guarantees. Audit reports of the civil accounts of state governments by the CAG do contain some information, but such information is often sketchy and incomplete. Another reason for the sharp increase in outstanding guarantees is because they have become a convenient means for states to circumvent the ceiling on the quantum of their market borrowings under existing provisions of the Constitution. Under Article 293 within bracket 3 of the Constitution, any borrowing by state governments requires prior concurrence of the center whenever there are any loans outstanding from the latter. In effect, therefore, state government cannot tap the market without the center's explicit approval. However, there are no such restrictions on the issue of guarantees. Article 293 within bracket 1 of the Constitution is quite specific. It permits state governments to give guarantees on the security of the consolidated fund of the state within the limits fixed by the state legislature. In practice, no state legislature has fixed any limit. The net result has been a sharp increase in the issue of guarantees with state-owned enterprises serving as a convenient front for borrowings, the borrowing of the exchequer. The standard practice is to have state-owned entities issue bonds backed by the guarantee of the government concerned. This automatically improves their credit rating. Depending on the finances of the state, ratings may move up a notch or two, enabling funds to be mobilized both more easily and at a much lower rate of interest than if the market had been tapped on a stand-alone basis. Given the cash crunch faced by states because of their increasingly populist policies, it is not surprising, therefore, to find more and more states take to raising funds through guarantees. Audit reports of the CAG on the civil accounts of state governments are replete with such instances. The Himachal Pradesh State Electricity Board, for instance, is reported to have raised a sum of rupees 300 crore at the behest of state government, highlighted in the CAG report 1995-96 for the state to enable it to tide over a financial crunch. Not only were the bonds backed by a state government guarantee, but even the payment of interest was authorized from the consolidated fund of the state. The Himachal Pradesh, mind you, is not an isolated instance. Other states are also guilty, though in varying degree. Meanwhile, with mounting pressure on infrastructure, governments are increasingly using guarantees to encourage the flow of funds into infrastructure projects. The contingent liability of the Maharashtra government for the Dabhol, Reliance and other power projects alone is estimated at rupees 4200 crore. The crucial issue, however, is not just one of determining the exact amount of guarantees outstanding, although this is an important issue, but rather of containing risk to some reasonable predetermined level. It is foolish to assume that contingent liabilities will not crystallize into actual liabilities. There is always a risk that guarantees may be invoked. and at a time when the state simply does not have the necessary resources. Sure, there is no immediate payout, but as the Rakesh Mohan Committee pointed out, guarantees generate future expected obligations.